we're live.
Hey, hello everyone. This is Patty, the program director for the Spanish and Medicine program. Just waiting a few minutes while everybody is hopping on. We see people are joining us right now, so we will just give it about a minute or so. This is the Spanish and Shadowing in Latin America program open house, and I'm hoping to give you lots and lots of information about our program today. If you have any questions, you can write them in the chat box in a minute or so. We will begin our open house webinar as we're just waiting for a few of you to hop on right now. All right. Like I said, the chat box is open. Our staff is ready and waiting for any questions you might have. I will be trying to connect with our staff and have them read some of those out to me, but they will also be answering you directly in the chat box there. So go ahead and write your questions. If for any reason I don't get to you right away, we will definitely get one of our advisors to connect with you and write to you and answer any questions that I can't get to during this live session. We are live, so excuse us for any blunders or any mistakes. I'm not too techie, so I've got my staff here supporting me. I'm in education, so this techno stuff has me a little off, but please bear with me. The idea is that we will go through as much information as possible for the Spanish and Shadowing program in Latin America. Okay, so I see lots and lots of you have already hopped on, so we are going to begin. First, I wanted to start by introducing you to part of our team. All right, you'll see some other faces as well on the presentation today, and I'll let you know who they are. But I wanted to tell you that today we have here on the line with us two student advisors. First of all, Martha. Hola, Martha.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
There's Martha. Martha is currently out of Santiago, the capital of Chile. And Martha lived for a while in the United States, actually out of Phoenix, Arizona. So she has the experience of having traveled to a place where she didn't speak the language and probably went through some of the difficulties as well that some of your future patients will go through. So she can definitely give you some insight with regards to what that feels like. And also with us here this evening is Karen. Hola, Karen.
Hola, Tati.
Karen is currently out of the very far south of Chile, really close to the South Pole, actually, but having a nice summer, I believe, down there. The weather's been pretty good, and she's in Puerto Natales, but Karen's originally from Australia. So she has come to Chile and has lived a little bit through that experience of being the new kid on the block and not knowing the language 100% and, you know, getting through all of those steps as well. So she can definitely guide you through that. On my screen as well as online is Carolina. Hola, Caro. There she is. And she is the assistant director. She's there on my slide with the blue hair, so you can't miss her. Wonderful. Very colorful. Carolina lives out of Viña del Mar in Chile, but her family is all in the United States. Well, most of them, because your sister's in Japan, I believe, right? So yeah, Carolina travels back and forth. Her family's in Miami, and they've also had to go through a little bit of that starting off when you don't know the language. So Carolina can definitely understand and give you a little bit of insight for what it's like to be in a new location, to be in a country where your language isn't the first language. And she also lived in Miami, so she can definitely give you firsthand knowledge about that. On my slide is also Jimena Cespedes. She's not on the screen on the Zoom call right now, but she's also with Student Services, and she's somebody that can connect with you as well with regards to any questions that you may have. And my name's Patty. I am the program director, like I said earlier. I am also out of Chile, out of a place called Quilpue. It's a small town just outside of Viña del Mar. And I love it here because it's kind of like a little city, a little country. You know, I'm washing my dishes and a cow walks by and a horse walks by, and I love that. Yeah, so like I said, I'm not very technological, so bear with me today if I have any mistakes or any blunders. We are live and things happen. All right. Okay, everybody, let's get this show on the road. I think I'd like to start with the most current question, right? And I think it's on everybody's mind still, unfortunately, and that's COVID. So what is happening with COVID in our schools in Latin America? I know a lot of you are watching right now our open house with your family and friends and wondering, hey, what's going on? What's this going to be like? First of all, I wanted to let you know that the schools are open. The borders are open for all of our schools. Vaccinations are in place in all of the locations. We are having actually, we've started the 4th booster in Chile. Some of the other countries are a little behind. Argentina and Peru are still finishing off their 3rd booster shots. And in Chile, we are starting, or we have already started with the 4th booster. So we're really doing well with that. Of course, we're taking all of the precautions necessary, following the guidelines set out by each of the authorities, the local authorities, health authorities. We are keeping social distance, wearing face masks in public places. We are sanitizing the classrooms very frequently. So during class time, you will have extra breaks just to make sure that we're airing out and we're sanitizing the classrooms appropriately. And of course, the hand sanitizer and washing your hands wherever you can. You'll find that most public places will provide hand sanitizer for you if there isn't the opportunity to wash hands and that kind of thing. So that is the situation with COVID. We are seeing a little bit of a spike with the Omicron, but it's mostly people that have not been vaccinated. And one of the requisites for international travel today is having your vaccine, your COVID-19 vaccine in order. If you have questions about this topic, go ahead and write them in the chat box. We'll see if we can get to them either live, or we'll send you an email shortly after our presentation. All right. And like I said, as we go along, I'm hoping to touch upon all of the necessary topics, but feel free to write any questions you have in the chat box, and then I'll ask the staff to read some of those out for me, and we'll take it from there. Okay, but let's move on then. Let's leave COVID behind, because I think we're all kind of done with that. Somehow or another, we just want to get over that, and we want to get back to our normal, back to maybe almost 20 years ago, when the Shadow Abroad Foundation started the first Spanish and shadowing program in 2002. We had only 3 students from Chicago, and we called that group the Chicago Hope Group, after the television show that was popular back then. Since then, we've seen over 900 students take our program. We're really proud about that as staff and teachers, professors. These are students that, a lot of them are already doctors and have been for a while. And these are doctors that are now prepared to help, to take that extra step and help those patients that aren't able to communicate appropriately in English. And they've taken that extra step, and we're really proud to have been a part of that process for everyone. We're not just here for the patients, but we're here for you as healthcare providers. This will definitely change the way that your healthcare career is going to move forward. It will change how you relate to your patients and to those, especially to those patients that can't speak the language. All right. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, the language gap crisis. A lot of people don't know that the US has the second largest Spanish speaking population in the world. And, you know, I kind of pause there because, you know, you think really like, yeah, there are more Spanish speakers in the US today than there are in all of Spain, for example, or any country in Latin America, with the exception of only Mexico. So if you have that thought in mind, if you consider just that, there's definitely a language gap that's going on in the United States right now. And with COVID, we've seen it come to critical mode. It's crisis mode right now. And I think a lot of you have been able to gauge the importance of communication in times of, for example, a pandemic, because it's just in front of mind, because it's so important for people to realize all of this information that has to come across. And so, yes, it's in front of mind, but it's always been an issue. It's been an issue for years. I'm the daughter of immigrant parents myself, and I remember my parents going through trying to learn English. And, you know, I remember going to night school with them and playing in the hall. I thought I was such a cool kid because I got to see the school at night. And they worked hard. They really worked hard at not only, you know, learning the language, but being able to fit in, to being like a part of the community. And like my slide here says, that when a healthcare provider can speak to the patient in their language, the patient feels like a welcome part of the community rather than a burden. And I think, you know, it's difficult. It's really difficult. I can only imagine what it takes to leave everything you know behind, you know, for whatever reason you had to immigrate, you know, leaving your family, your friends, everything that feels like home. It's a hard thing to do. I mean, it's great to have the opportunity that America provides for everybody, but it's not an easy thing to do. And it's not that immigrants don't want to learn the language. It's just difficult. There are so many factors that come into play: time and money. And sometimes literacy is also an issue that we forget. We tend to forget. And for a healthcare provider and all of you that are entering into the healthcare careers, direct communication creates a super, super, super important piece. It's that bond that you require to have with a patient to be able to treat and diagnose and follow the patient appropriately. I was speaking not too long ago to a former student who's already a doctor, and she was telling me, you know, Patty, I get it now. I understand, like, it falls into place why this was so important. Not only, you know, am I lucky enough to be able to write fluent in Spanish on my resume and, you know, get a little bit of an extra boost in salary and whatnot, but the biggest point is that I go home every day, she said, and I go through all of the cases that I had that day. And I go through all of the cases because I want to know if I missed anything, if there was anything that I could have done better or differently to help my patients. And there's nothing worse than the language or the communication barrier. And knowing that that particular piece could have changed things for that patient, or might not have taken that patient to that place where they are. So, like I said, we are not here as a foundation only for the patients, but for you as well. We want to provide as many healthcare and future healthcare professionals with all of the tools that you require to be the best that you can be. And if you are here, if you are watching, we are hoping to find good fits for our program. Students who understand this language gap crisis that's going on right now and want to be a part of the solution. And you know, it's all fine and great that we say it, that we tell you about this, but let's look at my slide here. That is a quote from the AMA Journal of Ethics. And it says, doctors must face today's demographic realities. A Spanish-speaking doctor fills a critical nationwide gap, opening the doors of communication between doctors and patient. And that is exactly what we were going for, right? That's exactly what we were saying just a few minutes ago when we are talking about the US today. The US has become a place of many, many different ethnicities, cultures, and it's all wonderful. And, you know, we wish that we could provide all of this for all of those cultures, languages, and people. But the sheer number of Spanish-speaking individuals in the US today just makes it so important to at least be able to speak the second most spoken language in the US today, which is Spanish, right? And it's being understood that it's important, not just because we want to, you know, speak the language and be able to communicate, but because it depends on somebody's life. Because in healthcare, communication is one of the most important pieces that you will learn, okay, or that you will use as well. You know, we all go to our universities and we learn everything that we need, and we get all of that information and all of the knowledge that we need to be the best professional that we can be. But we can't forget this important piece. And especially in healthcare careers, communication is key. You need to know the information. What's the first thing that happens when a doctor sees you? They say, "Hi, how can I help you today?" And if we can't get past that, and if we can't get past the initial piece, which is getting to know what's happening, the rest just becomes much more difficult. So that's where we come in. That's what we do, and that's why we are here. And that is particularly our mission. That's what we want to do. We want to prepare future medical and medical professionals for a future America. An America that comes in all shapes, colors, sizes, ethnicities, cultures, and everything else. We want you to be able to communicate, to connect with your patients, to be able to understand. There are so many stories of false cognates where just because the language barrier was there, people have had a very bad experience, unfortunately. You know, and there's words that are so similar but so different at the same time. If somebody tells you "estoy embarazada," you might think they're embarrassed, but they're actually pregnant. And there's a big, big difference between being pregnant and embarrassed, as you can imagine, and how important that could be in a healthcare situation. Right? Our advisors can definitely provide you with information and more stories like this, and, you know, ideas of how to create that safety net for your patients as well, just by having that ability to be able to connect and communicate with your patients. Okay. So that's who we are. And I think it's great and fantastic that I tell you all of this information, but I want you to hear it from your peers. I think it's really important. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. And I am going to ask Carolina to play a couple of videos. The first video that you're going to see is your peers, exactly like I said. And I wanted you to hear from the people who have already done the program, that are your peers, that are students just like you, that one day sat in front of their computers and watched one of these open houses and thought, I want to be a part of the solution. What was it like for them? So that's the first video that you're going to see. And then we're going to play a couple more videos and we'll go ahead and play them all together so that we keep in time with everything. The second video that you're going to watch, the second and third, there's actually 3 videos, if you are watching on a small screen, you want to make your screen big because you'll have to read some subtitles because the second two are in Spanish. So, but they're important for you to watch, and we have them here because I think that they'll provide you with some ideas of maybe questions to ask or doubts that you might have. And so I think if you can spare about 5 minutes, this is going to be great for you. Carolina, if you can go ahead.
This program, it was honestly awesome, you know. You get here and you're so nervous. It was my first time out of the country. I had no idea what to expect, what I was going to be doing, anything. I didn't know any Spanish before I came here. But when I got here, like, everyone was so supportive. I learned Spanish, I feel like, very well. You get here and you're in this entirely new place, and you know, it's like you have to learn Spanish, and you do, because you are immersed.
I chose this program specifically since it combined medicine and Spanish as well, and I'm currently a pre-med student. So this program was really unique that it offered Spanish classes as well as shadowing opportunities, and what I really took out of it was the shadowing opportunities. The school did a really great job of setting all of us up for great doctors to shadow with and to learn.
I love my classes. Classes are awesome, but definitely my favorite part of the program has been actually working and shadowing doctors in the hospitals here. It's awesome experience that you just really can't get in the classroom. Studying Spanish in the classroom is one thing, but actually living it out on the streets and in hospitals with people who, you know, speak it like that's their language. That's a totally different thing.
I was one of the students who was chosen to do a few 12-hour shifts in the emergency room. I saw a lot of really cool things and really excited that I got to do that. I also got to see a few surgeries with a gastroenterologist. So yeah, my experience here has been really great, and I wish I could stay longer, but yeah, everything's been great.
Hola, me llamo Kendall, soy de Dallas, Texas, y estoy estudiando biología y filosofía a la Universidad de Texas at Austin. I really wanted to see what the healthcare system was like in a different country. So my first shadowing experience, I just sat down in the clinic and watched the doctor kind of do his thing. I saw a surgery where they removed the entire gallbladder. I saw a gastric sleeve surgery. It was really, really cool. And it was very awesome to see the dynamic between all the doctors and the patients as well. Like in the clinical setting, it's so different than in the States. My classes at Acela are very small, just a couple of people. We usually talk through a couple different topics using the verbs or the grammar that we're learning that day. We talk about really cool and interesting issues that are happening in the country. The other day we talked about like survival tactics. It's conversations you would have in real life, not just like ordering at a restaurant.
Hola, soy Grace, and I'm studying biology and chemistry at the University of Illinois. I love the classes because it forces you to talk all the time, and that's something that I've never had before in the classroom. And the teachers are super good at kind of hearing the things we're struggling with, so they accommodate you during class with things that we're having a lot of trouble with. And yeah, I've just seen my speaking abilities just skyrocket while being here, and yeah, the teachers are phenomenal. I really like shadowing and just comparing kind of different healthcare systems because I have only seen one in my life, so just seeing the relationships with doctors and patients here, I really like how it's closer, and it's something that I definitely want to strive for, like in my own practice or just experiences at home.
Hola, estamos aquí con Laura, ella es directora de la escuela en Buenos Aires.
Lo que nosotros proponemos en nuestras escuelas es que puedan aprender a hablar rápido. Entonces, aunque no sepas nada, el primer día de clase te vas a ir con un montón de herramientas para poder sobrevivir, comprar, y esa primera semana te va a ayudar a sentar las bases que, bueno, van a ser muy útiles para los próximos niveles. No hay que tener miedo, al contrario, aprender una nueva lengua también nos permite abrir todo un horizonte a una cultura, a una forma de pensar diferente y observar el mundo de una manera distinta. Entonces, nuestro trabajo no es solo como lingüistas o como profesores de idiomas, sino también como embajadores de una cultura, ¿no?, que abrimos a los estudiantes.
Hola, soy el doctor Leonardo Rodríguez, médico cirujano dedicado a la cirugía de la obesidad y de la diabetes. En nuestro centro, en donde un grupo de profesionales manejan a nuestros pacientes, hemos tenido la experiencia hermosa de interactuar con ESELA desde hace varios años. Eso ha significado que nuestros alumnos han tenido la posibilidad de ver a un equipo profesional médico interactuando con un paciente en los distintos ambientes, tanto en la consulta médica como en la sala de operaciones cuando les hacemos una cirugía a los pacientes. Ellos tienen la oportunidad de conocer el lenguaje técnico médico, pero también aquel coloquial, aquel que permite acercar al profesional de la salud a nuestro paciente en forma respetuosa, pero afectuosa siempre.
Great, thank you, Carolina. Can you all hear me? Yeah, I'm good. Okay, so I'll just go back to sharing my screen as well. Give me one quick second. Like I said, I'm not too technological, so I'm a little bit slower. But I hope that you enjoyed watching these videos and that you got a little bit of an idea with regards to what the program involves, what it entails, what is in the program, what you will have with the program, and what you should expect. Okay. We heard from students saying that, you know, it happens quickly. The change, the learning part happens quickly. And it is something that does happen quickly because you're completely immersed. This is a cultural immersion experience. You're placed, you're there, like that student said, 24/7. You think, you breathe, you eat everything in Spanish, right? And like Laura, our academic director, and the director of the Buenos Aires School said, we're not just linguists, we're not just here to help you speak the language, but to understand and to have cultural empathy and to allow you and guide you to pick up that language in a different way. We use the natural method of learning a second language, and that means that you will pick up the language by just being inserted in the culture, by just understanding and hearing. Those things are, they become part of your vocabulary. Like when you're a child and you hear and you associate words and sounds with different things, you know, you hear pen and then you realize that, oh, okay, that's the sound for that particular item, and that gets embedded into the way that we think and sort of like in our mental dictionary. The same happens when you are inserted in a culture. You're learning different vocabulary, words and sounds, and then you're using them that very day or the day after or in the afternoon. They're making sense to you, and that's why it happens so quickly. This program also comes with a college transcript to keep you on track for graduating on time. So if you're a little behind and you'd like to use your credits for undergrad, you can go ahead and do that. A lot of our students say, you know what, I'm going to keep my transcript and I'm going to use those credits for grad school, and that's fine as well. And the program is, like the students said, in a clinical environment. Okay, Dr. Rodriguez was explaining that not only do you get to see and hear the terminology, the medical terminology associated with your careers, but you also get to hear things that aren't in the books, right? The colloquial language, the everyday language. So your books may have the word stomach in it, but will they have belly and tummy? Those are kind of like the things that you'll pick up on. As well, this program is put together focusing on that clinical environment, on that clinical setting, and the language, the Spanish language in that area. So not only will you shadow doctors to be able to understand, become more culturally empathetic and understand that vocabulary, but you will also be able to engage in a research project that will allow you to understand the culture and the people from a different perspective. What is it about these people? What is it about this culture that makes this illness or that disease more prevalent? Do they have access to healthcare? Do they have access to medication? Is that a thing? Do they have access to doctors? Okay, so you'll be able to understand this culture from a different perspective. You'll be able to understand your students, your patients from a different perspective. And then you'll also have the opportunity to give back to the community. All right, the volunteering aspect of this is where you say thanks for opening the doors of your culture. And I'm just going to leave a little footprint behind saying I was here. All right. And that's also there for you. And all of this builds a new person in you. You will be surprised at all of the things you learn, not only from the school, not only in class, not only in your shadowing and your research project and in volunteering, but about yourself as well. Traveling to a different country, doing it on your own, studying abroad is different than just taking a vacation. And you're going to find yourself pushing yourself outside of your regular limits, pushing yourself and thinking outside of the box a lot. And that is going to provide a lot of self-confidence for you in the future. And you're not going to be doing this alone. You're going to be doing it with lots of other students who are coming with you. And these will be your new friends and future colleagues that you'll have wonderful memories with of this wonderful adventure you've taken in Latin America. So that's in a nutshell what this is all about. Okay, if you have questions, please write them in the chat box. I see that there are lots and lots of questions and our staff has been really busy taking those questions, but we do have a few minutes, so why don't we take a couple of the questions. Karen, would you mind maybe reading one or two of those questions for me?
Perfect. I've got a question here from Joshua. Okay. He is wondering whether he needs to get a special visa to come over to South America.
Okay, that's a great question, Joshua. Normally, if you are the holder of a US passport, you do not need a visa to enter the 3 countries that this program takes place in, which is Chile, Argentina, and Peru. All right, you can come in on a visitor's visa and that you will be provided once you come in. Your passport will be stamped. So they usually give you 60 to 90 days, and that's all that you need. You don't need anything different than that. But if you are holding a passport of any other nationality, I would definitely check with your local embassy just to make sure what the requirements are for you. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Joshua. Are there any other questions that, okay, Martha, I see Martha has another one.
Yes, Jason is asking, in case they registered, will they be able to contact the other students that are already registered to share maybe accommodations?
Oh yeah, that's an excellent question, Jason. When you register for the program, we invite you to orientation sessions that are actually have already started for the 2022 summer program. We will invite you to these orientation sessions and you will get to meet the other students that are coming to the program. We create a WhatsApp. That's the name of the application group where you can definitely chat with each other, get to know each other. And a lot of our students, like Martha says, decide to take, accommodations together, bunk together, even travel together if they're coming from similar spots so that they don't have to, be on their own so much. So you get to have that experience even before the program starts. We meet about once a month for the first few months, and then more often as the travel date gets closer. In those orientation sessions, we tell you about all of the documentation that you need to prepare. And we even talk about what to pack, what to bring, what not to bring, and all that great stuff. So definitely you will be able to talk to other students coming. Karen, I think you had one more question for me.
Emma had a question here. She is still having a chat to her home advisor about her schedule, but she seems to be interested in applying. Should she still go through the steps, even though her schedule is still not confirmed?
Yeah, absolutely. If you, for any reason, Emma, can't travel for the selected date and you have been accepted to the program, we will give you the opportunity to be able to defer your program. So you can change the start date if that's necessary. And if for whatever reason you can't travel, whether it be, you know, schedules or work or whatever the case might be, you can always defer even to 2023. All right, so I hope that helps, Emma. I hope that answers your question. I don't know if anybody, Martha, do you have one more for me or?
Yes, Patrick is asking how many credits will they get if they do the core program?
Wonderful question, Patrick. The credits are provided by your educational institution, so it really depends on what the requirements for your particular institution are. But generally, you are getting up to 3 credits per level. And this program will take you up 1 whole level of Spanish for every 3 weeks. This program, the core program, is 9 weeks for those of you taking the full program, and every 3 weeks is a level. So let's say you start with, you know, absolute beginner and you want to do Spanish 101, it'll take you through Spanish 101, 102, and 201. Okay, so you will receive the transcript for all 3 of those levels. And, you know, according to whatever, you know, level you start at, that'll also take you up 3 levels. Those credits can be used during your undergraduate studies if you wish. If that doesn't work out for you for whatever reason, like I said, many of our students decide to keep that transcript and those credits to use for grad school. All right, so I hope that answers Patrick's question. I'm going to go ahead and move on because we want to make sure that we keep within the time frame that we had allotted. So we want to go on, but I know a lot of the questions, I'm kind of keeping an eye on that chat room, even though I'm not good at talking and writing at the same time, but I see a lot of questions about financing. And we are a not-for-profit organization, and as such, we are able to provide a couple of scholarships, not too many, but we do have some scholarships available. If you would like to apply for some of our scholarships, we are able to provide some partial scholarships, and they are limited. There are, you know, a few still available for 2022. Please speak to your advisor, to your ASELA advisor, your Shadow Abroad advisor, and our advisors will explain what it is that you need to do to apply for those partial scholarships. If you are a member of AMSA, the AMSA Club, we are an AMSA Alliance member, and if you were invited to this open house by AMSA, ask about your benefits, ask our advisors about your benefits. You actually have an automatic scholarship available to you. So let them know that you are a member of AMSA when you are speaking to one of our advisors. Okay, and we do want to help as many people out as possible. Like I said, we are a not-for-profit organization, and you know, we wish we could provide a free program for everybody, but unfortunately it's difficult. But what we can do is upfront the cost of your program and help you out with this financing situation. All right, so what we can offer is upfronting ourselves the cost of the program for you, and you can repay us in a very student-friendly 0% interest payment plan. All right, so if you are interested, again, these are limited opportunities as well. If you are interested in taking this program, paying in small installments with 0% interest. This goes directly through us. It does not go through any banking institution. You don't need to provide tons of paperwork or anything like that to request this type of financing with us. You can definitely speak to your advisor and ask them about the student-friendly payment plan. Okay, and that's at 0% interest. But we always tell all of our students to check with your homeschool advisor and ask if there are any opportunities for any type of financial assistance for you from your school. Some students have been very successful at obtaining student and financial aid for this program. So go ahead and do that as well. Okay. The other piece that I know is out there, and a lot of you, like I said, I know are watching with your family members and friends, and is safety. You know, where are you going? Where is this program taking place? And we want you to know that safety comes first for us. So all of our schools are located in upper middle class neighborhoods in all of the cities that you are going to. And we do provide you with an orientation on the very first day that you arrive. We tell you all about the city, how to move around, where to go, where to find, you know, ATM machines or laundromats or whatever it is that you need. But we always say something that's quite true, and that is, be safe, be aware of your surroundings like you would when you're traveling anywhere in the world and even in the States. Right? When we travel, we leave our valuables at home. We are aware of our surroundings, and you know, we just want to make sure that we are in places that we know are okay. I think every part of the world has, you know, neighborhoods that people don't visit. There's probably an area in your town or city that most people don't like to go to. Yes, there are cities and parts of the cities that are like that, and we will make you aware of that. And we have situated the schools far away from those areas so that our students can go out and explore and be able to, you know, meet the people and the locals, because that's part of the learning experience. And, you know, just walk around without having to look over your shoulder every 5 minutes. And that's really important to us as well. We've been around, like I said, for 20 years. We haven't had any issues come up. And that, I think, is part of the reason for having these ongoing safety tips. So the staff at the schools are always going to be, you know, repeating all of these safety tips for you and reminding you of, you know, what things to do. Okay, or what not to do as well. If you have any questions about that, feel free to write them in the chat box. We're happy to answer those questions for you as well. Let me talk to you a little bit about the program. I already went through, excuse me, some of the pieces, but I wanted to just, you know, break it down a little more for you really quickly. This program is composed of these 4 parts. First of all, the classes. We do have every level available, so it doesn't matter what level of Spanish you are, we have something for you. If you're an absolute beginner, we have Spanish 101, and it goes all the way up to 302. If you are an advanced Spanish speaker, or if you've learned Spanish at home and you feel that you're quite fluent, we do have a program for heritage speakers, and that's who you are. Those students who have learned Spanish at home and feel that they're fluent, but they're still missing a little bit of that formality in the language, or more vocabulary, especially in the medical or clinical area. The program is made and focused on healthcare careers. Okay, and that's why we've included medical shadowing. This medical shadowing is AAMC compliant shadowing, so that it's hands off. And the idea behind this medical shadowing is that you can broaden the medical vocabulary that you use, not only in the technical terminology, but also the everyday language as well. So you can hear it live. Okay, so this is what it sounds like. This is how doctor relates to his patients, and how the patient, you know, has that relationship and bond with medical professionals that are quite different in Latin America. The healthcare research project will allow you to become more empathetic and understand your Latino future patients on a different level, from a different perspective, looking at it with different lenses. You might not know that, for example, in Latin America, we tend to use a lot of, those grandma advice, take this herbal medication. A lot of us use alternative medicine. And that's something that you should be aware of when you are treating your patients. And a lot of people don't consider that medicine. So that's something that you want to keep your eye on, that you'll be able to perhaps see as well and learn a little bit about. And last but not least is the piece of volunteering and giving back to the community, kind of leaving a footprint behind, or carving your name on that wall saying I was here, and just giving back to the community. So that in a nutshell is our program. Okay, this program is in 3 countries, like I had mentioned: Chile, Argentina, and Peru. You'll go through 3 courses, and like I said, it includes that medical shadowing, the research, the volunteering, and this program also includes travel between locations. So your job will be to get to the first location, and we will provide air travel for you from one location to the other. So for example, if your first location is Chile, we will provide air travel from Chile to Argentina and Argentina to Peru. And then it's your responsibility then to leave from Peru. And then you will also receive 4 nights of a hotel stay in each of the locations, just to take that burden off of you, to feel more comfortable in the area before you find your accommodations and where you want to be. All right. So that, again, in a nutshell, is a little bit more about what is included in the program. I know a lot of students have questions about that. The dates for the summer program for 2022 are May 29th to July 30. That's our summer 1 program, and it has very, very, very few spots left. Probably less than a handful. So if you are interested in that 2022 date, especially the summer 1, I suggest that you connect with your advisor as soon as possible. Okay, summer 2, the June 19th to August 20th has a few more spots available as well. And there's a fall program that starts September 11th to November 12th. And if you are looking for a gap year, let us know and we can accommodate some dates for you as well. Okay, I've gone over just a little bit, but I think it was really important to get all of this information to you as soon as possible. If you have any more questions, please visit our website at www.spanishandmedicine.com. If you would like one of our advisors to reach out to you, you can write in the chat box, please connect, or need info, and we will have one of our advisors reach out to answer any questions that I haven't gone through in this presentation. Again, www.spanishandmedicine.com. You can definitely get a lot of information on there, and I hope that you have enjoyed this small presentation. We like to open our casa to you, and we hope that we can say hola very soon here in Latin America. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for wanting to be a part of the solution of the language gap crisis. I know my parents would have been very lucky to have had a doctor back then to have said, no te preocupes, hablo español. Don't worry, I speak Spanish. All right. Thank you very much. Buenas noches.
Ciao.